Well, good morning on the West Coast and good afternoon on the East Coast. Welcome to 30 Minutes to Better Business Results. We're the show that works with business owners, executives, and sales organizations to help them accomplish goals far faster than they ever thought possible. And one of the things that we realized in the work that we've been doing over the last several years is that there's a lot of people that have been out there starting their own business. The Great Recession caused a lot of people to be laid off. They basically took and hung a shingle out there to start their own business. We know the statistics show today that there are over 53 million freelance contractors in the United States. And we're really here just to help show you, I'm going to give you an example of a coaching session and show you how you can take and improve your business simply and easily at a half hour, 30 minutes a week, coming up with 3 action items on a weekly basis. 3 action items in 1 week is obviously not a big deal, but if you did 3 action items every week for 6 months, you might have 18 or 20. After the end of the year, you might have 50, or even more than that. You can do a dozen a year. So the key here is that to achieve a routine system that generates ways to get you off the hamster wheel and improve your business on a weekly basis. So thanks for joining us today. We've got Brandon Overstreet. Brandon Overstreet, thanks for joining us today. Brandon is the Senior Director, Video Solutions for Veracity Collabs. Have a seat.
Thanks, John. Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. And just for everyone's edification, Brandon and I have known each other for several years. We worked together for a little bit. We actually put together a program called Selling Your Brand. And that was a lot of fun, but that was a couple of years ago. And since then, Brandon's gone off and done some other things. So, Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you know, I'm from Texas. I always like to lead with that. I actually came out here in '92 and went to film school. And so I went into the film industry, and after a few years, I just realized that maybe not this is the best for me. So I went into the technology space, built a lot of different businesses. But after 20 years and 2 kids later and a wife, I found some guys that just kind of resonated with maybe where I wanted to go with my later part of my life career, and realized I wanted to get back to the creative part of my my talents. And so I was able to bring those business background that I've had mixed with that with the creative space. So Veracity Collab was a great fit for me, and it's a wonderful agency, and so it's exciting to be in business but working in creative. So it's fun.
That's exciting. I'm gonna digress just a little bit because I know that you're from Texas, but you also went to film school here. And where did you go to film school?
I went to USC.
Yeah, well, I thought we had to get that plug in then for all the USC.
And my wife went to UCLA, so that's always a battle internally.
Oh, okay. So it's basketball season, and
well, we won't talk about basketball today.
Well, no, in basketball you root for the Bruins. Now in football, or you might have to go somewhere else. The USC hasn't ever had much of a basketball program. Yeah. So Veracity Collab been there for a couple of years. How did you get? We know how you got in that business. What is it that you're trying to accomplish with that particular business? What are your goals here?
Yeah, so obviously we're a video agency, and some of our goals is to a team that becomes family and clients for life. And so it's important that we have the right people internally to build out video solutions, but it's also very important for us to have the right clients that we like to work with. We don't want to risk bringing in someone that just doesn't work well together. These video projects are very intimate, and they're very long, they're hard, and so we don't want to work with clients that don't want to work with us, and vice versa. We want it to be a win-win, and we operate like that. Our biggest challenge would be is to share with the world why a video agency is necessary, and what is a video agency, and why does someone need it? Why would you call them, and those kinds of things. I think there's a little bit of an awareness piece because it is a newer category when you look at the video space. Traditionally, you have an agency and you have production people. Agencies do everything under the sun for your marketing and your branding and that kind of stuff. Production people are just creative. So we're right there in the middle as a video agency, bringing business solutions to creativity, and that's not always easy.
Yeah, so bringing that blend, almost introducing a new concept, new category to the marketplace. And clearly the online marketing explosion. I guess I'd call that. 20 years ago we didn't have the internet. Now we do. And you had some statistics on video watching, video activity. Could you share some of those?
Yeah. So, people are more likely, 75% more likely to click on a video than read something. That's probably the biggest statistic that's out there. Is people would rather watch something than read something. Maybe a little scary for our youth, but that's just where it's going. And if you look at even what Google's doing, Google makes a lot of hires recently for video animation artists, not just graphic artists, but animated video artists. That they've realized that your logo, what's your logo look like in motion? If you look at the Google logo, it's always moving. If you look at their static homepage, Google's it's always changing, and so it isn't anymore that you can just design something. You have to design it with motion in mind. So those are just some things that we look at and realize that when it comes to content marketing, blogging, even this show right now, these are people are able to watch this, get great content. It's everywhere. I think that's it's exciting to see that, but it's also daunting because how do you differentiate yourself in a market where everyone's realizing, wow, video is the way to go?
So video, I mean, if you think about it, and I'm just kind of processing this in my mind as well, right? So we aren't doing nearly as much print advertising. Most of us can't do television or radio. But because of internet marketing, we have content marketing, we can do blogging, we've got websites, we've got social media, and then we've got this video component, really. And that's what you're saying is we need to engage this video component in terms of sharing our message and exposing ourselves to the marketplace. Right?
There was $50 billion spent in 2013 in December for digital advertising through video. When you look at traditional advertising, they always went to your local national media, but now you're going to your online media as its own channel, and so people need to be very aware that their website is no longer their little book holder for their business. It's their channel on the internet.
$50 billion in 1 month.
1 month.
Wow, that's a lot. Now, I suspect that there are still plenty of small businesses out there that haven't engaged in the online marketing activity, or they're just taking a dip of a toe in the water, and they may not know somebody like you. In which case, we could certainly give them some information. But I think the other thing you're talking about when we were chatting off stage here for a little bit is that you're working mostly with companies that have sort of a marketing director already, right? Somebody that kind of understands and is putting together this marketing program and content. And what do you see that those companies are focusing on? Is it just video, or is video something even new to them that they really don't understand?
That's a great question. I would say that they see videos. I need a video. I just need one because someone said I needed one. What it does, how it works, how it tracks, they don't even think that way. Unless you're a direct response company and you're used to those kinds of metrics, you're not going to think that way. And so I think that is a lot of directors of marketing, VPs of marketing, even CMOs of large companies, you'd be surprised at how many of them are not leveraging video to tell their story, to help open doors for their sales department, to help communicate with users, that ongoing user experience, training, HR. I mean, there's so many things in your other lines of business that you leverage video. But they just see, oh, I just video on my homepage, and that's just not true.
It's pretty short-sighted.
Very short-sighted.
Right? We're not really looking at the big picture. Now, is it
because
because
the best in the world? These are not these are good marketers, but they've just been doing something for so long.
This is new.
This is brand new. And until that guard changes,
different.
It's going to be similar.
Change is a little bit hard. Change is challenging.
Yes.
Right. And so, and even understanding the return on investment, right?
Which is hard to do.
How are you tracking that and measuring that so that?
Yes.
Because as a business owner, I'm willing to invest in marketing. But I want to invest in marketing that works.
Yes.
We've all made plenty of investments in marketing that didn't work, right? I run people all the time that have taken big magazine ads that didn't generate, anything, and then they say, well, marketing doesn't do it. But no, the wrong marketing or marketing in the wrong place is not effective. The right marketing,
right.
Marketing in the correct place.
And that's a good point. I mean, the average abandonment, I don't even know what the average abandonment of a video is. But for us, our engagement rating often is over 70%, which means your engagement rating is really how long will someone watch a video till its completion, and we're getting over 70% of people that watch our videos to complete it. So that's not our challenge right now. Our challenge is not, hey, are our videos good, is our stories are good, is our design good, is our production quality good. That's great. Our challenge is communicating to the business owners of why they need it, when they need it, and of course reaching as many people as we need to share that story. That's probably the more difficult thing for us, because the competitor is getting like maybe 20% of engagement rating. So we're way over the amount of engagement rating that our competitor is. We even have a net promoter score of over 80%. So people love working with us. because we're collaborative, we're fun to work with, our team's really nice, but we definitely have some challenges we're looking at.
Those are some pretty amazing results. I'm going to ask you another question, but before I do that, I mean, what from a engagement? I mean, I appreciate the fact that people are watching 70% of the movie before they're running out. How long is the movie? How long is
how long is
the
the
video?
The average is 60 seconds to 90 seconds.
60 to 90 seconds. Okay, and you're getting roughly a 70%, and then you get an 80%, which is 80%.
Net promoter, which means the average other production company, if you put us in that category, because they're creative people talking to business owners, sometimes those relationships are a little strained. It'd be like me trying my own court case. Sometimes those two don't get along personality-wise, and so the production company gets a black eye because they don't necessarily know how to communicate with the business they're working with. And so that promoter score, their willingness to, the business owner willingness to share them with someone else, one of their friends, is very low, whereas ours is about 80%.
Okay. Okay. So pretty amazing, it's pretty strong results, pretty strong statistics, ways that you can actually measure the value and the benefits. And then you mentioned the challenge, which is, how do we get the word out? How do we get this out to, the marketplace, the population? There's a bunch of different varieties, but when we were talking earlier, we talked about sort of referrals. In other words, you guys have already done. How many videos have you guys produced over the last few years?
We must have produced over 800 videos.
800 videos? And that translates into some of you're doing more than one video
Sure.
per client. That translates to how many clients?
Just say our active clients are probably in the hundreds, but probably work with mostly 300 to 400 clients.
So you got 300 or 400 clients, right? And one of the things that we look at from a marketing standpoint, and I help my clients with this all the time, is referral marketing, right? So one of the best places to get a new opportunity or a new client is a warm introduction from an existing client, right? And so how's your referral marketing program working?
Well, we were very shocked at the end of last year when we saw how low our current client percentage was to do another video with us every year. For agencies, usually it's 75–80% of your business.
It's repeat business.
One guy who used to work for Disney, he stole all of his clients. He started a little company, and he had enough to get going, and he had some referrals here and there, and they were big clients. Whereas with us, because we do so many videos that aren't really high dollar in the animation space, a lot of times people need one video, and that's maybe all they really need for that size of business. And so it was maybe us finding the wrong client, or maybe they just didn't see the depth of how video would work for them.
Yeah, that's probably more the case. They don't really understand that having recurring content, recurring information, can make such a big difference in what we call market positioning. I mean, that's one of the things I really love about social media marketing is that you're able to establish a recurring position, right? It's not like here's a piece of paper and it gets filed in a file, having to see it again. This is kind of popping out again and again and again. But if you're sending out the same content every single day or every single week, well, then that doesn't really help your market position either. So the idea is so maybe they're just not really understanding the value of having this recurring activity.
Yeah, and for us, once you get a big client, it completely skews your numbers. Because one client could all of a sudden bring in 80% of a month's revenue. And so we have to continue to go out and market ourselves and continue to share them. As we grow, we have to continue to drive the top line revenue. So we're always looking for ways of getting in front of more people, and that has been hard. The longer you go, the more you do that, the harder it kind of gets, because the belief is you start running out of opportunities.
Well, yeah, and what happens is that initially what happens is we find that people are good at catching one client and servicing that one client, but they struggle in creating a recurring revenue stream, and that's because they don't have a model for it. They don't have a way to do it. They don't have a process. They've got a process that says I got to go meet somebody, I got to go talk to them, I got to tell them what I have, and they can sell them and they can create that. But they don't have a model and a process for extending that into increasing the frequency of buying.
Sure.
We'll talk about. That's one of the key components to the way to wealth from Brian Tracy. So we'll talk about that at some point, and so you can kind of see how that fits in it. But if we can get people to buy a little bit more frequently, obviously that adds up to a greater revenue thing. And the other side of it is that when we've got really happy, really satisfied clients, it sounds to me like you do because of the ratings that you've got, then we'd like to have a system and a process that allows us to make them feel good about giving us referrals.
Yes.
There
is some incongruency between our Net Promoter Score and our referral numbers. It's just that I think as I'm talking with you, it's helping because I'm realizing part of our biggest struggle is just getting out there and getting a line in the water. Like literally just asking, just doing it, just setting up a lot amount of time to get an X amount of number of referrals per week would be a huge opportunity for us because we haven't been thinking that way. So I really appreciate that because we just haven't been doing it. I mean,
So we can make a list of clients, right, and then start a program where we reach out to them each one on a frequency basis. But let me ask you, how would you ask them for a referral? So pretend I'm a client. I bought one of your videos last year, and how would you ask me for a referral?
I love when you do that to me, John. Just put this on the spot. That's what I love about your show. Heard other people struggle with this as well. Well, for me, it's always been about building that rapport. And so I typically would do that. That I feel comfortable asking them, who else do you run with, or who else do you hang out with as a director of marketing at a company like this? Or I would go find a company through their LinkedIn profile that they're connected with, or something like that, to say, hey, I noticed you're connected with Margaret over at Apple, and we worked with Apple before, but we've never worked in that division of Apple. Would you mind making an introduction for us? I'd love to introduce her to our work. I mean, that kind of messaging is typically ours, is real soft. We just want to show our work to them, and so I think that might be a script that I would feel comfortable with.
Do marketing directors have any professional organizations or associations?
They do. I think that's an opportunity for us to get those on the board. In fact, there was one last night. It turned out to be some of those can be smaller businesses that come together and a lot of people looking for jobs. But there are certainly annual or quarterly get-togethers for marketers around certain personalities like Seth Godin and things like that.
So conferences, trade shows.
But I definitely would say that's not one of our. I would put that on our action items of things to do.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's another way if I'm the marketing director, and I may or may not know anybody in particular that would need your services. One of the challenges is that if I have to sit here and figure that out, right, it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to take me a lot more time and a lot more energy, and the likelihood of actually doing it just goes down, right? So the more you can figure that out for me, the better, right? This is who we're really looking for. This is the type. This is the style. This is etc. And then if you can kind of connect me into a professional organization where I can invite you as a guest or do something of that sort, I might be able to introduce you to a couple of different folks. But I think the key to this, and what you mentioned, was really good. And I'm sorry about putting you on the spot like that. It is one of the things that I do.
It's a coaching call.
Is the fact that you came up with the building rapport concept. And I think building rapport is a key, and it starts from when?
Yeah, it starts from the sales call or that first touch or that first point of communication. And admittedly, I think, and we talked about educating the market on what a video agency is. A lot of times, even when we get people coming to our website or coming through LinkedIn, they've heard about it, or they've seen our work, or we shared it with them. A lot of times, it's perfect timing. We want to move forward with a project, and they start going into, I want it to be 60 seconds. I want the color blue. I want it to be animation. And so, a lot of times, because you have a fish on the line, it's easy to just go down that road with them.
Yeah, you're just running down.
Okay, great. We'll
create
get
the product.
Here's your proposal. We'll get the deal, and so we're to the project, and that's always fun because revenue solves problems.
Well, yes, it's not the end of the world.
But going back to them and saying, but do I know them? It has been a challenge for us, and so what we've actually, and it's funny, we're talking about this just recently. What me and some of the other guys that are on the solution side, we really believe that we need to take a step back and be willing to risk that client by saying, wait a second, now, before we get too much further down the road in a project, we need to align your business goals with the story we're going to tell for you, and then we'll decide on what video that you need. Until those things in that order are figured out, we can't recommend anything. And so let's take a step back. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, that can be your process.
Exactly.
This is our process. This is how we create great videos. We get to know you. We get to know that, and you with intention and focus, you drive the relationship with your new client.
I like that when you said it's a part of our process that we get to know you, because if it's true, now that I'm thinking about what told you, if it's true that we really are interviewing them as much as we want their business, if it's true that we want clients for life and we become a team that becomes family, if it's true, then we're really interviewing them. So that perspective is part of our process to get to know you. Tell me a little bit about how you got to where you are today, kind of what you asked me.
Yeah, that's how you get.
So I know we haven't been doing that, and I'm a pretty relational guy.
Well, you are, but this is all parts of where we.
I just like to fish too, and it's fun to feel that tug on the line. And so as a business person, you never want to turn away revenue. But it didn't lead us. We take a step back.
Well, so if we take a step back and we engage this interview thing, and we begin to intentionally grow the relationship activity from day one or second one, so to speak, right? And we build that relationship. And with a relationship, we talk about the reciprocation practice, right? So reciprocation is one of the 6 pillars of persuasion, the oldest influence tool in the history of mankind. And it's not so much influence, but it's what, if I do something for you, you do something for me. That's just kind of the normal process, right? I give you a bite of my sandwich, and that's a bad example. We'll pick another one. But, I hand something to you, you hand it back to me. So as we build this relationship, and as you share about you and they share about them, right, you're creating that. And so when it comes time to finding out when and if there's a referral opportunity, it's a lot easier to ask them for the referral opportunity. And
yes.
do you also would you have to train them and teach them through this model on identifying what a good referral is?
Yes, and that's something we have done well, is we believe that we work with a collaborative marketer who is tech savvy, that is always learning. Our buying persona, we've nailed that down. And so we're less looking for clients now that are in a particular industry. Now what we found is a lot of those are in the tech space, like software companies, SaaS companies that are fast growing, they can tend to attract those kind of marketers. But we believe that we're more looking for the people we're working with more than even the company that we're working for. Because we believe that those folks they drive these initiatives. They're the kind of people that understand the value of video. And so if we start with that buying persona in mind, then we get what we want from the companies, because they typically
that buying persona to our referral discussion, right? How do you communicate that buying persona to me? I'm an existing client, I've got a relationship, and yet you're asking me to go find this thing, this person, right? Because this is outside of my normal day. It's not what I do.
Sure. So I mean, putting it all together, what we said today, maybe it would be more about John, it's been great working with you. It's true again that we work with collaborative marketers like you, and for companies like yours. Where do who are you hanging out with that you think of when you think of your stunt double or your wonder twin or whatever, like someone just like you, where do you hang out? Who are your friends that we should be talking to? And those become kind of fun because we flatter them to share with them what we appreciate about them in a sense. Not unauthentically, but truly share with them what we appreciate about them. I think they would be more likely to say, well, if you like kind of how I work, I actually have a really good friend. She's over at whatever, IBM. You should talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that until you share with someone who you're really looking for, it's hard for them to visualize that person.
Yeah, agreed, because it's not their normal thing. I mean, their business is their target market and their market persona. Who are they really looking for? So another way, we go back to that same reciprocation principle, right? Would you be willing to refer clients to them?
Absolutely.
And one of the things I love about this is that you can start the conversation with like this, right? So we've spent a lot of time together, and I understand your business. And if I run into any particular clients that I think could use your services, you're the one I'm gonna send them to, right? Because I know how important and valuable referrals are. And so then, if you're the recipient of that conversation, what do you typically say?
Thanks. Likewise.
Right, and likewise, right? And that then launches the ability to describe the persona a little bit more effectively, because he's already said he's willing to do it, right? And we can, and all we're not really manipulating anybody, right? We're offering to help. And what happens when we offer to help, somebody else offers to help us back. It's just that simple.
Sure.
We're really just trying to make it an easy model and an easy persona, but we really have to make it just that. It has to be intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be focused. We have to make it a part of our process that it doesn't happen because we remembered it one day.
Yeah, one of the challenges in that for us, and there was a time when I would do a little bit more of that. Maybe I didn't keep doing it because it wasn't as lucrative, but sometimes the marketers, because we're not talking to a sales organization, we're talking to the marketer, and they don't care. They don't. They're not cross. Most times, marketers and salespeople aren't really that big of friends or good of friends. And so when I would say things like, "Well, your company is phenomenal. I would love to refer business to you." They'd say, "Oh, I don't even know who you would do that with." It was almost like they why would you do that? Because they were larger companies and they're not really accountable for the revenue. And so maybe if I was talking to a salesperson, but in a lot of marketers, would be surprised that they don't connect. They kind of have their corporate world, and larger companies they don't really benefit by having a large network of people. Because in fact, more people is more threat to them. And so it's hard for the marketer to say, I don't know if I want to introduce you to the best friends because maybe, I mean, there seems to be a threat at the corporate level. So I think maybe what you're sharing with me has helped me align even where I would use this strategy. It may be in that mid-sized to smaller business, 25 million to 150 million, that they are like that. Because when you get up to the billion-dollar business, we've worked with some very large companies.
Okay.
They're not. I can't. When we worked with Google, if I said to the marketer, "Hey, I want to send you people to Google it," that would make no sense to her.
It wouldn't work.
She was like, "Great, we're very large." You know, but to your point, I think it helped me just again narrow in my buyer persona, but also down to the target market, the target company I need to be looking for.
Yeah, it might not be the marketing person, but maybe you need to be introduced to the salesperson or
Exactly.
some other
The
person.
internal referrals.
They could be.
Yes, that's a huge opportunity for us at a large company. We are not doing that.
Okay.
We are not crossing over from division to division. And I think you're going to ask me, well, how would you do that, Brandon?
Yeah.
It's funny you asked, John. Is maybe using that same thing. Boy, I love working with you. We've got some great results here. And maybe even send them a bottle of wine, like reciprocate that way, giving them something and say, I would love to meet, or send it to their entire company. Hey, here, share this with all your team. By the way, we'd love to work with some other divisions. Who should I be speaking with in your sales department, or who should I be speaking with in HR? I didn't even know you did those videos. Oh yeah, I'll send you some things.
You've actually got that relationship that you can leverage.
And you can find them on LinkedIn like that and say, hey, you know John? I would love to meet them.
Yeah.
Because they're right there in the same company.
All right, so we're just about out of time. I'm gonna thank you for spending some time with me. We've got to finish up by saying, hey, listen, we talked about some great stuff. What are the 3 action items that you're going to take out of this conversation?
We need to be, well, first of all, is to commit to a number of referral asks per week. You talked about 50 weeks, business weeks. We do, get 3 of those. I get 150 referrals a year, right? Is my math right?
If you get 3 referrals a week for 50 weeks, you're right. It's 150.
So maybe if I have 10 asks or 5 asks, maybe I'll get 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So it's to get the right amount of activity. We're not doing that. We need to get that goal written down. We need to put that on the board. We need to look at that daily. We need to pray over it. We need to do whatever we got to do to make sure it gets done. The other thing is to make sure we're reciprocating early in that relationship, getting to know them, or actually getting to know them early in our sales process, making sure we're not just going down process row or project row, and we're getting that information up front that we can come back later and find out about how to reciprocate. And then the third one would to be reciprocating, to let them know we're giving back to them. To lead that discussion, to lead that activity, is to make sure that we're not asking them for something we're not willing to put into them. So I think those are 3. It's just the activity goal, to make sure we're not going too far down the sales process before we build rapport, and to make sure we're reciprocating.
Okay. So 3 great goals.
Oh, yeah.
And how are you going to hold yourself accountable for?
Well, I'm going to go back right now. I'm going to share it with my business development team, Nate and Charlie, and say, guys, I think we need to put this on we have a goal book, but it hasn't got this granular because we knew that it would change. And so I think in our activity section of our launch book, we have a book called Launch that we use to do our goals. We need to write in that activity immediately and be looking at that daily. Well, I'll do that when we leave.
Well, no, that's awesome because you have an accountability plan. Telling somebody else, sharing this message is one of the first places because, individually what happens is we all sort of give ourselves a free pass. The phone rings, our back hurts, this goes on, and we make excuses, and there's somebody that we're really making excuses to except us, so we accept them. When we tell somebody else, often we go down a long way down the path.
You can call me next week.
I will. In fact, I will. I'm going to. Well, no, that's part of the package. Is I want to call you and I want to find out the results that you're getting from this because I want to share that with our readers. So maybe you come back and join us again in about 4 or 6 weeks or so. I appreciate that.
You're a phenomenal coach, and congratulations on your home run.
Oh, thank you. That's another blog that we're going to be doing is called creating results. Look, joining 30 Minutes to Better Business Results. Get out there and make it a great day.